What's up, people? In this video we are going to do another one of these like red pill guy videos. Somebody asked me to do this one, recognize and avoid women who are damaged goods. I kind of wonder why you guys want me to do these red pill videos, because in my experience, people who like believe the red pill stuff, not that I don't, but people who are like in that rabbit hole, they generally just want to hear like the echo chamber. They don't want to hear anything that like disagrees with it or any like thoughtful discussion about it. It's pretty much like, this is the way it is. If you don't believe it, you're like some beta male loser. It's not up for discussion. Either you're with us or against us, kind of thing. So I'm kind of curious as to like why people are asking me to do these videos, because in the videos that I'm doing, I'm basically saying like I believe, like I agree with this stuff, but I don't like, number one, I don't like the delivery. Oh, it's like so bitter. And it's number two, like I think it's like encouraging people to like be bitter and like take themselves out of the game, basically, which I think is, you know, it's good for me, but I think overall it's like, it's stupid, in my opinion. I haven't seen this video. I don't know anything about this guy. However, from what I've seen of like his channel, it's all about like never date a single mother. What else does he say on here? Like, you know, fucking what else does he say? How to, well, I guess that's not so bad. These ones aren't so bad. Oh my god. Alright, anyway, whatever, we're gonna watch this video.
Last year I did a video called Don't Fuck Crazy.
See what I'm talking about? Not that's bad advice. Okay, anyway, if you guys have more like suggestions, let me know. Leave me a comment.
You can find it right here. In that video, I talked about how I dated not just one crazy girl, but two crazy girls. And, you know, by some miracle, I lived to tell the tale, right? Anyway, it got me thinking about crazy girls and how there's a spectrum of crazy. There's crazy on the far end, and then there's damaged, and then there's normal, which is more or less what you want, right? But it's important to talk about not just crazy girls, because crazy girls are, of course, funny, but it's important to identify and be able to recognize damaged girls. I can't pinpoint exactly where one ends and the other begins, but by the same token, I can't quite pinpoint where blue ends and green begins. But just because I can't tell where one ends and the other begins doesn't mean that they don't exist, right? That'd be foolish. There are such women as damaged women, damaged goods, and I'm going to be talking about them in this video. First of all, what are damaged girls or damaged women? Well, it's a little bit hard to pinpoint because it's a little bit different for every woman who's damaged. But these damaged goods are just, you don't want to be involved with them long term. Now, you know, short term, or maybe even medium term, as a you know, in between relationship, sure, no problem, you have a good time with her, right? But long term, that is, you know, when you decide that you want to have a family, don't go with damaged girls. Do not. And I'm going to explain why in this video. See, a damaged girl has psychological or perhaps even psychiatric problems that you can't solve. They go beyond the ability of a man to solve them, okay? And these problems that they have, they're going to bring you down. They're going to bring you down, and they're going to hurt you long term if you decide to, you know, marry up some girl who's damaged. Now, the problem we're experiencing right now is that at this time in history, most girls that you meet are damaged goods. Most of them. And that's a tragedy, but that's the state of affairs. Now, why is this the case? Well, for two reasons. Number one, so many girls today have been raised by single mothers. They didn't have their dad around. They didn't have a male figure around. And this is, you know, the lack of it is very clear in so many of these women. I mean, they miss having had a man in their lives when they were growing up. Perhaps they had a stepfather, and the stepfather, well, you know, all kinds of creepiness happens with stepfathers, and especially attractive stepdaughters. It's something that people don't really like to talk about, especially women who marry again. They don't like to talk about it or focus on it because it's just so disturbing, but it's the case. It's the truth. So many second marriages, you have the stepfather, you know, doing all sorts of creepy shit to the stepdaughter. And these stepdaughters go out into the world and they're damaged, okay? And well, that's what's going on right now because of the...
I mean, I was with him in the first part. Like, generally, it's not a good idea to get into a long-term relationship. I think using the term damaged goods, I think that's... I think that you should get more specific with that, like specifically what is damaged goods or what are damaged goods, and identify that more clearly, which I'm sure he'll do in the rest of the video. Seems like a smart guy, seems like he's on the ball, and thank God he's like presenting this information in like a non-bitter way. Like, oh my God, thank you. So that's that. As far as like most girls being damaged goods because they were raised by single mothers, I think that's a bit of a stretch. Or maybe we just have different definitions of what damaged goods are. Like in my opinion, because I generally agree with that, right? Like what's a good example? And this, you can think I'm a dick for saying this, but like everybody's entitled to their own preferences of who they would be willing to date long term or not. So, you know, you're welcome to disagree with me or think I'm a jerk or something, but like, for example, if a girl tells me within, you know, the first couple hours of meeting me, or really kind of like, yeah, I guess the first couple hours of meeting me that she was raped, right? If that comes up like immediately, I'm like, all right, that's a little, like, I'm like, I kind of write her off as like a long-term potential. And I'll tell you why, okay? And I specifically said in the first couple hours of meeting me, right? Really, like, if she's going to mention it, she's going to mention it right away. Or she's going to try and hide it because she's embarrassed about it, which honestly I think is the right move. And I'll explain why in a second. But if she mentions it in like the first fucking hour of conversation, that to me tells me that it's too closely tied to her identity. And there's a lot of like extra shit that like will be involved with being with her long term. I didn't think of this until just now, but I was thinking of this one girl who, like, when I moved to Australia the first time I met her, I stopped her on the kiosk, right? Random story. God, it's gonna be a long video. I stopped her on the kiosk, and like basically what I would do is I would stop the girl by talking, and I would say, okay, come over here, let me show you. And when the girl sits in the chair, you have to touch the other person, right? Like, you can't show somebody a product on their hair without touching them. It's impossible. So what I would do is I would kind of like in sales, or especially this type of face-to-face sales, you kind of need to touch the other person to like build familiarity. I'm not saying I would like, you know, like fucking like caress her or anything like that, but just like a gentle touch, like on the shoulder, something that's like completely within the bounds of like normal human interaction, right? So like what I did with this girl specifically, and I remember, I'll never forget it. I sat her in the chair, and like what you do is you stand to the side and you separate her hair with a clip, okay? Because like when you take a section of hair, you want it to be a clean section. You don't want to just like take hair from up here. You want to separate the hair like from this and take this part, okay, to show them the product. It's easier to show them that way. Okay, so what I did is I remember I put my hand on the back of her neck to like kind of stabilize her, and she like as I did that, she like kind of like flipped her hair around like this, and like super submissively like did this with her neck, which in and of itself might not mean anything to you, but as soon as I saw that, just from my experience of having done this to like literally thousands of women at this point, I took that, I was like, oh my God, this girl's super down. Like, she's so down to like, you know, whatever, she likes me, she wants me, whatever. Okay, I knew that right away. Anyway, we did the demo. She didn't buy anything, but I got her number, and we ended up we went out like on a date or whatever, and then at the end of the night she came back to my place, and over the course of the night she told me that like she lost her virginity to some guy who raped her, right? And like basically told me like this entire story, like some guy straight up, as she tells it, I don't, who knows really, but some guy like straight up like fucking like grabbed her in an alley and like violently raped her. And she was, as she tells it, again, like I'm not blaming the victim or anything like that, this just seems like a very far-fetched story. Maybe it's possible, but she was so like distraught, I guess, that she like followed him home and like wouldn't leave, and they got into a relationship, right? And like this was the first guy that she'd ever been with. I don't know if she's like been with other guys since then, but she told me this like on our first date, right? So I was like, okay, a little weird. And then whatever, like when we went back to my place and we were like, you know, being intimate, she was like kind of like reenacting, she was kind of like pretending like I was raping her, and I was not. This was like 100% consensual, but she was doing these like acting like no, oh my God, no, but like not actually saying no, right? Like, I wasn't even doing anything. It was like, you know, whatever, like we went to the bedroom, we're like kissing, and then like clothes are coming off, and like it's progressing naturally, but she's like over exaggerating like this whole like rape thing, like she wanted it to happen. I'm like, oh my God, she's doing this like on the first date, like imagine like what kind of like crazy shit is gonna happen. Anyway, long story short, like it kind of freaked me out, and we didn't really have sex because like I was just worried in my mind. I was like, oh my God, like if I have sex with this girl, she technically can say that I raped her just because of this like dramatic acting that she's doing. So I just kind of backed off. I was like, okay, like, you know, let's not do this right now. We don't have to do this, blah, blah, blah. 'Cause it freaked me out, all right? Anyway, that's damaged goods. Like that's not like maybe an extreme case, but that's a good example, I think, of a girl that like, I'm sure she's a nice person, she's very sweet, she's super hot, but like, do you really want to be in a long-term relationship with a girl who's that crazy on the first date? I don't, personally. Like, sorry if I'm like a bad person, but no, that can be somebody else's problem. Like, there's plenty of girls out there for me to choose from who are like normal or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah.
amount of divorces, of the disposability of marriage. So many young women today are the product of broken homes, the product of single mothers, the product perhaps of the abuse by the stepfather, right? So, you know, that's one of the reasons there are so many women out there who are damaged, and I would venture to guess a majority of women are damaged, right? Now, the second reason is actually kind of perverse, but we are living, weirdly enough, in a historical epoch whereby the society sort of like glorifies damaged women, right? It glorifies them. It says it's a good thing. And it's encapsulated in the Me Too movement. What is the Me Too movement? It's basically saying, you know, oh, you know, I was abused or victimized somehow. And all these other women are saying, me too, I was victimized too, I'm part of the gang, right? It is encouraging women to view themselves as victims of some horrible abuse, victims of, you know, whatever circumstances, just victims. And make of themselves victimized women who are damaged, okay? And you know, that's a bad thing, but that's the fashion nowadays, and it is a fashion, by the way. You know, this kind of shit, Me Too-ism, you know, it's a fashion that'll pass. But the problem is that it is pernicious, because women tend to be compliant creatures. They tend to want to belong. They tend to want to do and be and act like all the other women of their age group act and behave, right? And so if that means that, you know, most of them are going to act and behave as if they were damaged and be these narcissistic twats, they're going to do that, okay? So for these two reasons, you have a majority of women today are damaged, okay? Now, how can you spot damaged women? What are the tells? Well, there are a whole bunch of them, both visible.
All right, so I think that's fairly on point, what he said. Well, okay, to be fair, I think what he said is true, that there is definitely, like, you know, you do get approval from society if you're a victim. As strange as that sounds. Like, it's, I remember I was listening to an audiobook by Grant Cardone, who's one of these like motivational speakers, like sales guys, like motivational self-improvement, rah. And he basically said, this is very interesting, but he said, if you stand up and you like brag about yourself and you talk about how you're motivated and you're ambitious and like you think you're awesome and you're the fucking bomb and like you just say good things about yourself, that's like bad to say that now. But if you stand up and you like complain about how you hate your job and how your life sucks and you say all these bad things about yourself, you get a lot of approval from society, okay? Regarding the whole Me Too movement and similar things, like we can lump the healthy at every size in there as well. Basically these things that are like, there's something wrong with me and I'm going to come out and like admit it. Well, not that there's something wrong with me. The implication is like with the Me Too movement, for example, is that this traumatic thing happened to me. I'm traumatized now and therefore I'm damaged goods, right? I'll never be the same. Because what they're doing is they're looking for the like the pity from people, the support. So that's true. However, in my opinion, the good thing, what did he say? Women are compliant. That's also true. And I think that stuff like this can be undone fairly easily because they're compliant, right? Like it's entirely possible that like tomorrow some new anti-Me Too movement or like super fit, like big booty movement or something will pop up, and then we'll see lots of women who are doing that instead, right? I don't think these things are like set in stone and like super dramatic, like society is ending, like he seems to say. That's I guess where we split off. But as far as like what he says, like I'm not denying that. Like I think victim mentality is perpetuated quite a bit. In my experience, like where I've noticed this is a whole like eating disorder thing. I mentioned this in the what's her name, Eugenia, I don't know, like the really skinny cosplayer girl that I just did a video on, right? She's getting all this attention, and nothing against her. She's super cute, very nice. I'm sure she like actually has a problem, not doing this on purpose. But when you come out and you admit that you have a problem on your YouTube channel and you're going to therapy and blah, 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 and you get all this support and all this love from these people, you're associating being a victim with positive responses from people. So it kind of like tricks you into continuing being a victim, if that makes sense.
And that you can spot early on in their conversation. For example, a girl with too many piercings. You know, she's got like one or two earrings. That's fine. But she's got like 10 in one ear, and she's got like a nose ring. One of those stupid, like cow rings. Like what the fuck is that? I've never understood that. But okay, they got like a cow ring, right? Damaged. And a tongue stud or a nipple ring or some shit like that. Damaged. Definitely. Tattoos. Girl with tattoos, she's damaged. And don't give me the shit that, oh, I was 18 and I was really silly and I did it and now I really regret it. No. I used to think that. A lot of girls got tattoos, kind of like a spur of the moment kind of thing, and then they later regretted it. And many of them do regret it. But even the ones who regret it, they are damaged. They are, I mean, the fact that they got a tattoo proves that, okay? No matter how small, no matter how discreet, they're fucked in the head. Yeah, another sign, if she's a smoker. If she's a smoker, she's damaged. Smoking cigarettes or vape, same thing. She's damaged. Crazy hair colors, like a blue or neon green or some shit like that. Drug user, definitely damaged. I mean, if she likes her coke, her pot or whatever, damaged. Now, those are the visible signs. The signs that you will spot early on in a relationship with a woman and you realize that she's damaged, she'll talk about her sexual adventures or sexual escapades. If she laughs about it, definitely damaged, okay? Any woman who takes sex as a casual thing is by definition damaged. And frankly, any girl who has had more than 2 sexual partners is likely damaged. And by the way, if either one of those 2 sexual partners was like a casual thing, she's damaged. damaged. Okay, so it's not merely the fact that she has had just 2 sexual partners or less. It's the way that those sexual partnerships occurred. If she wants to fuck you on the first date, damaged, 100% likely. Okay, even if she says that, oh, I've never done this before. First of all, that's a lie. She's probably done it before. And secondly, any woman who very cavalierly goes to bed with a guy that she's barely met, she's damaged. I don't care what her name is. She is damaged. Another really great sign, and this will come up in conversation. It's something.
Oh god, this video is gonna fucking take forever. So yeah, in terms of like, let's take the tattoo and piercing thing and crazy hair colors. Okay, so first of all, this guy has a very all right. Preface this. I don't think damaged is the right word here. I think instead of calling it damaged goods, I think what a more like accurate definition would be like suboptimal when it comes to a long-term relationship, like a long-term committed relationship. Let's call it that, right? As opposed to a girl who grows up with more traditional values, right? Generally, like those more traditional values will come from a religious household. I mean, generally, like every single time, they'll only come from a religious household. So, well, not only, but mostly, okay? And we can get to that later. But as far as like piercings, what does it mean if a girl has a lot of piercings? You could say that they're addicted to like the stimulus of pain, right? And they get the piercings to like experience that pain. Does that mean she's damaged? Or I don't like this word damaged, but what does that mean? Is that she's probably like stimulus seeking, right? And if she does that with the earrings, she's probably doing that in other ways, which I'm assuming he means to be looking for. Oh my god, I thought my headset was unplugged for a second. It was just my drawstring, which I'm assuming he means to be like lots of sexual partners, which seems to be like a big deal for him. Tattoos, I know, like, I guess if we have a spectrum, girls with no tattoos versus girls who are covered in tattoos, the closer you get to here, the more wholesome the girl will be. But that doesn't mean that girls who have some tattoos or like a few discrete tattoos, you should write them off completely. I don't think that's necessarily true, but I think that's like a fair, like, general guideline that you can go off of in terms of like, is a girl good for long-term potential? Okay, just if you have like a very vague, I'm not saying like if she has tattoos, completely write her off and don't take a look at who she is as a person. I don't think that's the case, but I think as a starting point, I think that's a fair bias for a similar reason as to the piercings. Because if she has piercings, if she has tattoos, if she's coloring her hair a lot, like pink or blue or something, she probably did not come from an extremely traditional household. And if she did not come from an extremely traditional household, she probably is going to be a little bit more wild and, you know, not have those traditional religious values, which would imply that she's not the ideal choice for a long-term committed partner. Okay. The sexual partners thing, I think that's, I mean, I guess that's true, but again, I don't like to say damaged goods here. And even something like that, I'm not, like, I think the way things are today, I think like normal one-on-one serious relationships, I think those are slowly going away in favor of more casual relationships just with people overall, especially with like, you know, Snapchat, Tinder, all these dating apps, you know, the like hyper focus on whatever, like super like sexualized like social media, that stuff is kind of going away, right? And to think that like you can still kind of like fit that in somewhere later in life just because you're sick of playing the field, I guess that's kind of the problem here, according to him. Oh my god, this video's gonna be forever. But I don't know. I don't think, like, if a girl has had lots of sexual partners, should you write her off entirely for long-term potential? I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, I think if you are important enough to her, then she will, like, according to him, probably like stay in line and be like the good little wife or whatever. But of course, preferable if you want to get married to take a girl who comes from a traditional household because she hasn't had all those experiences.
Thing that you should ask early on. Ask her about her father. Okay, you know that great scene in Blade Runner where they ask the replicant, tell us happy thoughts about your mother. And the guy goes, my mother? I'll tell you about my mother, and pulls out a gun and blazes away the guy, right? That was a great scene. Same thing with the father. If the chick says that the father wasn't around, the chick says that she hates her father, anything negative about the father or the father is not around, she's damaged. 100% certainty, okay? All damaged girls have issues with their father. And most likely, as I said before, because of all the divorces, most of the time these damaged girls are damaged because of the lack of the father, okay? It's 100% certainty, don't doubt it, okay? Another sure sign is when a woman will talk about her mental health issues and very casually say that she has an anxiety disorder or some shit like that, okay? Any girl who very casually says that she has some sort of mental problem, you know for a fact that she is fucked up, she's damaged, she's somebody that you don't want to be around. Okay, all of these signs point to the same thing, a woman who's damaged. Now, why is a damaged girl somebody that you want to avoid? Two reasons. Number one, they are unpredictable. And number two, they will oblige you to dedicate your energy towards them and not towards the goals that you wish to achieve. That's why damaged women, damaged girls, should be avoided at all costs if you're looking for a woman to marry or form a family with. Well, let me explain. You see, when you're married and you're building a family and you're building your career in order to maintain this family, right? You need to focus. You need all of your energy, all of your drive, all of your IQ points dedicated to the issue of building a career that will generate the revenue, the income that can support your family. Because you don't want to have like a one-kid type situation. You want to have a family, right? You want to have 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, right? And you want to be able to send the kids to private school or bespoke school, as is currently becoming the fashion. It's a very interesting fashion, by the way. You want to be able to send the kids to the Ivy League University. You want to give them a leg up in whatever they plan to do in the future, right? You want that, right? So you need a partner, somebody who's going to be on the same page and is going to be dedicating all of her attention to the kids and helping you achieve your goals, which presumably are for the benefit of the kids and the family that you're building, right? Right. A damaged girl, a woman who is damaged, a woman who has damaged goods, she's not going to be predictable. You know, at crunch time, she might flake out on you. And that is something that you do not want. Because when you're building a family, when you are trying to build something long-term, there are going to be crisis moments. And at those crunch times, you're going to need a woman by your side who is by your side. That you're not going to have to be worried that she might flake out on you. You want her to be steady. You want her to be predictable. You want her to be there when the shit gets heavy, right? Because it will get heavy, because it inevitably does, right? So a damaged girl, you're not going to be able to predict if she's going to be there or not. So number one, that's the first reason, that you don't want a damaged woman long-term. Now, the second reason you don't want a damaged woman long-term is because if she's damaged, she's going to demand your attention be focused on her and her problems. She's going to demand that you fix her situation, help her to overcome her problems, whatsoever they may be. Now, the problem is that when you do that, you are looking away from your long-term objectives and you're turning to your partner and trying to fix her, as opposed to going after your long-term goals that she should presumably be sharing, right? But a damaged girl, a damaged woman, she's going to sort of like hog all the spotlight to her, and everything's going to be about her and her problems and her anxiety disorder or bipolar disorder or whatever the fuck, right? Whatever issue that she's got, she's going to oblige you to ignore your long-term goal and focus on her. And because of that, you're not going to be able to achieve your long-term goal.
I think these are all valid points. I think for sure. Okay, so I think he's right? Any girl who's like, and again, like not to pick on these eating disorder girls, but like anybody who identifies too strongly with this kind of thing, you know, they're just like addicted to the victim mentality, and that's just who they are. So that's something that needs to constantly be addressed over the length of the relationship. And like this guy said, if you're a man, you want to start a family, you know, you need somebody who is not gonna, like, you're working towards a mutual goal, not like, and it's not this other person, right? It's like ideally like to start this family and take care of the kids and like build a career, and it's like a two-person effort, you know what I mean? And it can't sorry, but like, you know, it shouldn't be just all about like what your problems are, you know? You have to put those aside to, you know, work for the whole, the greater good. So that's that. Now I will say that after watching this a little bit, like, and I know that the title of this is like recognize and avoid women who are damaged goods. I get it. That's the point of this video. But I think what would be more effective here, instead of like, this is focusing on the problem, right? What would be better is focusing on the solution, okay? Which is not explicitly to avoid damaged goods, but it is to seek out undamaged goods, for lack of a better explanation. Like, for example, what I said earlier, and this is not like a dig at any girls who didn't come from like a traditional religious background, but a lot of these problems that he's pointing out about girls who are damaged goods are virtually non-existent in traditionally religious households. Okay, number one, the whole like okay, first of all, piercings, tattoos, multicolored hair. Rare that you'll find a girl who comes from like a religious upbringing that has any of those things, right? Unless she's like one of these like ex-Catholic girls and just is like gone completely to the other side of the spectrum, which is possible. Okay, but all things being equal, most of them are not like that. Most of them, well, most of the ones who stay in that world and maintain those values, they don't get tattoos, they don't get piercings, they don't have like pink hair and like all this other shit, and you know, they like, family's important to them. They're going to put the family, or they're going to put something ahead of their own like problems, basically, is the point. Same thing with Jewish and Muslim, right? Like fucking Muslims, like super strict. They cover their hair. Religious Jews do this too, where they cover their hair. You know, obviously tattoos in Islam and Judaism are like you're not supposed to do it. What else? Family's very important. Like a lot of these Jewish girls and Muslims too, like they get married fucking 20 years old, they're married, start having kids, you know, as virgins, right? Which, like, if you actually want to get married and you actually want to have kids, that's like the ideal. right? Because you don't have to deal with all this other stuff. And I'm super sorry, like, female audience who watches my videos, but this, like, if you want to get married as a man these days, and you're not, you don't buy the whole, like, oh, well, we're in love, we can make it work, because you want somebody who, going into this fairly large undertaking of starting a family and combining your lives, you want somebody that has these values, because this is what you're working towards, not like you said, like your fucking mental issues or whatever. Now that said, all of that said, like, what if you just don't want to get married at all? Like, what if you don't even want that? You don't want kids, you don't want to get married, like, as a man, I'm saying. You know, fucking do whatever you want. Like, have your fun, right? Date the girls with tattoos and piercings, and date the traditional girls too. Why not? You know, that's kind of where I'm coming from with this. Like, you know, that's why I'm not, like, getting bent out of shape about this. Like, I'm not, and if, by the way, if I actually were to get married to a girl, which I probably won't, but you never know, I would strongly consider a girl that comes from a like religious Jewish background. Just because I know that, like, all of these problems are not going to be there. She's not going to talk about her mental health issues, because that's, like, number one, they have fewer of those. I'm not saying they don't have problems and there's not, like, fucked up shit that goes on, of course, human beings, but generally, like, you at least you don't admit it. Like, you don't fucking talk about it all the time. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's fucking.
You're not going to be able to provide the living situation for the children that you want to have. You see what I'm saying? She's going to be a drain on your resources. You see?
What's wrong with this? Come on, computer. 1347.
Is that something that you want?
I just bought this computer too.
You're not going to be able to achieve your long-term goal. You see? And is that something that you want? Somebody who's not going to help you, but who's going to be a drain on you. You see the problem? That's a serious problem. See, short term, medium term, fine, a damaged girl, as you know, as a casual girlfriend, or somebody, you know, in between, no problem. Sure, you know, I mean, yeah, there's no problem at all having somebody like that short term. It's the long term that you don't want the damaged woman, okay? And here's the issue. You have to understand from the get-go, when you're dealing with a damaged girl, that eventually she will start to suck your attention, suck your energy, and pull you down. Do you want that? Of course not. But that's what they do. Because what happens with a damaged girl is she plays on a key issue of a man, and that is his protectiveness. See, all men are instinctively protective. We want to protect that which is ours, our women, our children. We want to protect them, we want to help them. You're married, right? And your wife, you know, all of a sudden has the flu, you know? And she has the flu, and, you know, you've got a couple of kids, 3 kids maybe, and she's got the flu, and she's got a temperature and the whole shebang, right? So what do? Then you call up work and say, look, I'm going to have to do only half days for the next week or so because my wife is really sick. And you take care of your wife, and you do a lot of the things that your wife would be doing. And you support her, and you protect her, and you bring her chicken soup, right? And you change the sheets while she takes a shower, and you know, feeling miserable and all, you know, sweaty from the fever and stuff like that. And you try to comfort her. And that's perfectly natural and normal and good. And it's something that you should do because she's your woman. She's the mother of your children, right? You should do that. You should take off work for a week or so. And that's perfectly fine for a week or so. But what happens if it becomes months or years? Because she's got like some anxiety shit or some other psychiatric problem or psychological problem, whatever the fuck it is, right? She's going to be weighing you down. She's going to be playing on your pity. There's a famous novel by Stefan Zweig called Beware of Pity, The Impatience of the Heart. It goes by those 2 titles. It's a great novel, by the way. And it basically is about how a woman plays on the pity and the protectiveness of a man to a tragic conclusion. It's a fine book, you know, early 20th century. But the point is, see, this issue is very well known. Men are easily manipulated by damaged girls, by damaged women. See? And especially the nice guys, the guys who are extra protective, you know, not assholes like me. I'm just a complete asshole in that way, you know. I mean, I'll help out for a little while, but after a while, if it gets to be too much, I just cut that off and just leave it behind because I'm an asshole. I've never denied that I'm an asshole, right? But the nice guys, the men who are morally and emotionally better than I am, those guys get fucked over by damaged women. They do. Okay, I see it all the time, yeah? Because they want to save the damaged girl. That's the problem. They want to save the damaged girl. And in trying to save her, at best, she just weighs him down all of his life. She's like an albatross around his neck, pulling him down ever so slightly, at best. At worst, he drowns because of her. He sinks to the very bottom of the ocean because of her. It happens all the time, you know? Great works of literature have been written about this shit, okay? It is common, it is stereotypically common. That's why damaged girls are so lethal to decent, good men. Assholes like me, we're immune, because we're too selfish. Like I said, I have never denied who I am. I am a selfish asshole. And if a woman demands too much of me, I just drop her. And that's why I've never been, you know, held down by a damaged woman. Because I just decide, no, she's not worth it for me and just leave her behind. But the nice guy, the good and decent guy, yeah, he gets fucked, okay? You who are watching, you who are presumably decent, that's why I'm telling you this, see? Because the assholes like me who are watching this shit, they're like, I don't have to worry. And they don't have to worry because they are such assholes, they are so selfish that no damaged woman will be able to get her claws into him. But the nice guys like you, learn to recognize them. There are outward signs and there are inward signs. Like I said, you know, piercings, tattoos, shit like that. Anytime that they have like some sort of psychological problem or some kind of physical problem. Another example, you know, lots of times they have some sort of physical problem, some chronic disease or some shit like that. They're damaged. They're fucking damaged. I'm telling you. Okay, I know these things. Remember, I know this shit not because I'm smarter. It's because I've been around longer. I've seen more. Okay, if you're a good and decent guy, what you have to do is what I said.
So the guy's right. What do you want? You know, like, so he's right. I think he's leaving out some information, but, and I'll go over that in a second. But what he said, like, these things are plausible. Let's say, right? Obviously, billion different situations, never 100%, blah blah blah. But like, all of the things that he's saying, he's not just like making this shit up out of nowhere, you know, to fucking like piss people off on the internet. These are all like plausible things, and I'm sure if you think about your own people that you know, you can probably think of people who fit this description. So like, you know, ladies of the world, and okay, so why is there like why is this not even going to do anything? Because there's, like you said, there's so many nice guys out there who are kind of like, I don't want to say desperate for female attention, but they don't have too many options when it comes to girls, that they'll kind of just take what they can get. And if what they can get is a girl who has all these mental issues, who's able to kind of pull his strings and make him feel like the protector and like he's doing the right thing, which, to be fair, is we like to, like you said, we like to feel like we're the like knight in shining armor. That's not you know, that's just how we are. Like what's our natural instinct as a man is to just like give the girl everything and to buy her shit and to fucking be like super nice and accommodating, and like anything she wants we'll give her. That's our natural instinct. But what you learn at some point, hopefully, is that doesn't get you any, like, they're not gonna fuck you because of that. You know what I mean? It's the opposite, right? That will get them to like actually like you. And it's okay, so it's not real. I'm not saying like if you fucking abuse her or something she'll like you. It's not really that. It's just that if you set boundaries, right, and you're able to like be nice, because you still need to be nice, right? You can't be like a fucking asshole all the time and she'll just like you. Like, you still have to actually be nice, but you need to have those boundaries in place where if you have, you know, that's why I think it's almost easier to do with these girls who have problems, right? Because like so many opportunities. But I think what he's leaving out here is that, like, how many guys are actually like trying to get married anyway, right? Like, I don't know, maybe there are guys out there who like still want to get married, but most guys that I know, like, you know, do you want to? Like, I don't really want to. It's not, you know, whatever, I have my own reasons. Like, I have to give up my lifestyle. I can't fucking come and go as I please. I gotta stick with one girl the whole time. I'm like trapped in some like one location while, you know, the kids go to school. It's like I have to like get a real job. Oh my god, it sounds awful. Like, it just sounds terrible in so many ways. But even for people who have like a normal life, like, does that sound good to you to do that? I don't know. I just don't think, and he's not mentioning that really. And also, like I said before, like, this is a lot of focus on the actual problem. Like, where's the solution here, right? And this is like, again, he's trying to make a video. I'm not saying the stuff he's saying is wrong, but you know, what's the solution? Like, what kind of girls should you look for? And I saw maybe he does have a video like how to pick a wife. But yeah.
I said in a previous video, in the video where I said what makes a man, you can find it right here. You see, you might fall in love with a damaged woman, and this happens all the time. You will fall in love with her, and you will recognize that she is damaged and that she's no good for you and that she's pulling you down, right? Well, here's the moment where you have to apply some of the ruthlessness of men who are bigger bastards and bigger assholes than you, and you have to set aside your love for this woman and dump her. Dump her as soon as you realize who she is, because she is going to bring you down, and you will never achieve any of the things that you want in life, because she will make sure of it. She will make sure that she is the focus, the center of your attention. She will dominate your attention, suck away all of your focus onto her. And as the years pass, you will watch as that peak, that summit, that thing that you were striving for, it gets further and further away from you as the years pass. Because the woman that you are with, the damaged woman that you are with, this damaged woman is driving you away from the things that you want. You don't want that. So cut her out. As soon as you realize who she is, dump her. Be hard about it. It's difficult, especially if you're a decent and good man. It is very difficult, but you have to do it. Trust me on this one. Trust me, okay? Because you will live to regret not having done such a woman.
Interesting. Okay, so that last point that he made, I think that's a little extreme. I think at the end of the day, most women want whoever their long-term partner is to be successful, and while it might be possible that some fucking crazy bitches out there will like sabotage you if they see that you're doing too well, because they secretly are afraid that if you rise too much in status, you'll dump them and get somebody better. I do think that is a thing, like that's possible, but I think that, like, you know, I think a lot of girls, regardless they have tattoos, the piercings, whatever, I think that, like, or mental problems, whatever it is, I think that you can't write all of them off, that none of them will be supportive or help you achieve what you want just because of those reasons. So I think that's a little bit extreme, but I think that, like, it's good. Okay, so what's the point of this video, right? Is that, like, the stuff that he's saying, I think is a little bit extreme, but I do think there's a lot of truth to it. Like, most of it is, like, I'm gonna say I agree with it. And honestly, it's like, I know, like, honestly, 75% of the people who watch my videos are female, right? From the analytics that I've seen. This is something that, like, you might be tempted to, like, write this off as, like, a couple angry men on the internet, and a fairly large portion of the people who are, like, involved with this red pill shit are really just angry and bitter, but not all of them. Some of them are, you know, what I think to be, I consider myself normal and, like, you know, able to, you know, have, like, whatever, like, some sort of decent relationship with a woman, in my opinion, and we have been exposed to these concepts, and we agree with a lot of them, right? So, like, I'm not saying if you have tattoos or piercings, like, you'll never get married to anybody. For sure there will be guys out there that either don't know or don't agree with these concepts, but there are some people out there who will write you off because you show it really just comes down to showing too much, I want to say too much weakness. Like, we do want a woman who is strong, or I do, at least. Like, if I'm going to pick a wife, like, I can't pick one who's, like, emotionally fragile and goes to pieces, like, about everything, right? That's what it comes down to. Like, where are the strong girls at, physically and mentally? But again, like I said, like, you know, love conquers all, right? You know, you get intimate with somebody, you get close to them, they might forget that they believe these things. So anyway, whatever. That was an interesting video. Yeah, if you guys have any more, let me know. Leave me a comment. Peace.